be really, really bad. And then conversely, it can be really, really good. You don't have to let it be bad. You don't have to sit there and say, oh man, I'm toast when I go to heaven. I'm going to have a bad time getting in because it's going to be a major, and I'm straightening out all the bad words I want to say. Not really bad, they're just mildly inappropriate. Oh, it's going to be really difficult when I get there because my work's going to be tried by fire, and it's just going to be a really rough time when I get there. You don't have to let that be you. You can change it now. You can start and you can sit there and go home today, tonight, right now even, while I'm still talking. You can do it. You can say, God, I don't want to die and have my life be burned up. I don't want everything I put my life into, what I poured myself into, to get to heaven and to be counting as nothing. Show me what you want me to do. Show me how I'm supposed to live my life. Help me. I don't want to miss it. That's right. No, I don't want to miss it. You don't have to. And I can't make that any clearer besides going up and grabbing every one of you and saying, you don't have to miss it. But how? Let me just recap. How do we avoid living displeasing lives to God? The first is simple. The answer is simple. A life of faith-filled action. That's all it takes. It's simple, but it's really hard to do. You can get away from it because you get lazy. You can get away from it because you're scared. But it's simple. It's having that relationship with God and knowing what He wants for you. And having the faith, the courage, and the guts to say, okay, and to do it. Can't boil it down any less than that. Hopefully I've put, some of that Jonathan Edwards fire and brimstone preaching on you guys, We're all believers here. I firmly believe everybody as I look out has faith in Jesus, some form or fashion. Some of it's really big, some of it's really small, but it's there. But I'm not trying to scare you with hell. I'm trying to scare you with the fact that your works will be judged after you die, and it can either go really well, or it can go really, really, really bad. I do not want, and that's okay, side note, personal note, that's why I got away from being an astrophysicist. I wanted to work at NASA. Nobody ever knows. No, I don't tell anybody that, or if I do, I don't try to. But I went to college, took physics classes, took chemistry classes to try to become an astrophysicist. Wanted to work at NASA. But I remember one day thinking, work at NASA is not really going to do too much for God's kingdom. I don't see how I could glorify God working in a nerd room with a whole bunch of people and launching space shuttles and landing on Mars and all that. I said, God, what do you want me to do to change your kingdom, to work for your kingdom, to change people's lives? I said, how can I do that? And for like 2 months, it may take this long. It may take longer. For 2 months I prayed and I said, God, how do I do this? How can I change people's lives for you? And He said, go to seminary. And God used me going through seminary, molded me in there, got me into a church, had me beat down in my church, first church, so that I got my big inflated head, which said I'm a good pastor and a good teacher and people like me. And I went to a church where people didn't like me and people thought I was a bad preacher. And my head went like this. It really did. It was not fun. I'm smiling now, but that's because it really wasn't fun. This is my uncomfortable pain smile. So I went to seminary. God beat me down a little bit in my first church. And then I have one of the very, very, very few professions where you can come into a foreign country in North America without a visa and be by the person that you want to be with. And come to a church that likes you and thinks you do a good job and is actually friendly and talks okay sometimes. Sometimes. Not all the time. Just the last 5 or so minutes when I really get into it. But God can do that for you. Little kids, listen to me. I know, you guys. You too. Not you too. You too. Right there. Look at you too. God, don't duck behind somebody. God can do that for you. If you ask Him to, He will guide and direct your lives, and it'll be wonderful. It'll be incredible, and you'll look back on your life and you'll go, I had no idea He could do that. But if you walk with Him every step of the way, you'll get there. And yes, He wants that for you. He wants you to change people for God. He wants you to do great things. Or He may want you to do small things, but the small things are important too. Same goes for all the grown-ups too. Done talking to the kids. Talking to the grown-ups. Whatever you do is important. Whether it's, all I ever do is just, I don't know if God just wants me to, it's singing on Sunday is not that important. I don't sound that good. For you, between you and God, if that's what he's calling you to do, it's very important that you do it. If he's saying and sitting there saying to you, I want you to do this with your life. I want you to do this kind of teaching. I want you to be involved in the Sunday school. For you, that is very, very important. You may think it's one small drop in a bucket, but for you, it's a very important drop. That is your drop that you can contribute to the work of the kingdom. Everybody on board with this? Everybody understand the concept of purgatory as re-explained by Pastor Robert? Yes? Okay. So don't call it purgatory, call it judgment after you die. But, all right, we're on board. Let's close in prayer.